I'm Sarah, and I'm an art therapist.
And I'm Chelsea, and I'm a creative wellness practitioner.
And we would like to welcome you into our official second live art hive. So, to learn more about us and what we do, you can visit our website and you can find the link below.
Yeah. Yeah. So essentially, what Sarah and I are trying to create here is an art community online. So we live in different areas of Canada, but we wanted to stay connected and keep working together in community. So we were inspired by the Art Hive organization, which originated in Montreal and is now sort of an international organization that does art hives all over. And essentially, they are just community art studios that welcome everyone as an artist. They're a place to talk, to make art, and to build community. And that's what we are trying to do here. So we welcome you into this space. And for those of you, if it's your first time, welcome. If you joined us for the first one, welcome back. We're always happy to have you. Yeah, and more than anything, we just want to express that what we're doing here is it's an art community. It's an art studio that we are sharing a space with everyone here, and it's not therapy. It's therapeutic art, but not therapy. If therapy is what you're looking for, we have some resources below in the description, so you can check those out. Yeah, that'll probably be some of your better resources in there. And you can also just reach out to us if you need through our website. Yeah, so as far as what to expect for the hour, we're going to do a little bit of a check-in. Sarah's got a theme for us today and some ideas to work with. We're going to spend some time making art, and we'll share our spaces then, so you'll be able to see what we're doing here. And we'll chat a little bit about found object art, a little bit about the history, some of the artists that we know that we love, who do found object art, and there will be some silence. We'll have some background music, but we'll kind of chit chat as it goes along. And you're welcome to contribute to that conversation if you'd like. We've got the chat going, so you can always pop in with questions or commentary if you like. We'd love to hear from you. And in the last 10 minutes, we will explore our art, so you'll be able to see what we've done. We'll talk about it a little bit, and we'll share some other things with you at that time. So for now, I'll let Sarah take it away with the theme and the check-in today.
Yeah, so we're going to do a check-in to begin. So checking in is just a form of kind of saying, how are you doing? What are you feeling like, without just answering, I'm good, which we kind of can get into that routine. So I'm going to invite Chelsea. I'm also going to do this myself, and I'm going to invite everyone who's watching or watching the replay to just take a moment in your space and just look around and find an object in your space. So it might just be an object that catches your attention, or maybe it's something special. So I'm just gonna pause for a second and do that. Okay. And when you have something, let me know, Chelsea, and then.
Yeah, I do. Actually.
Okay,
I had one thing and now I have something else.
Oh, okay. You're switching it up. Nice. I actually was going to go for one thing, but I switched it up too. So yeah, what did you find?
Well, let me show you. It's actually kind of a silly little thing. It's just a bottle cap from, I think it's a kombucha brand. Anyway, they have like these little slots on the inside with a little phrase, a little thought bubble, and this one says "I'm ready," and I liked that. It just like, he looks very happy and motivated, and that's and that's just how I'm feeling. So I like it. I don't know why I've kept it this long, but maybe I'll use it in my art today. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for checking in with that.
Yeah, thanks.
I'll share mine. I have a cart of art supplies and stuff right beside me. So I just looked in, and this is just a bookmark that I made, I don't know, maybe like a year ago or so. And it just caught my attention. And I think I like it because it just reminds me about different phases and how things cycle through. And I just really like the blues and the purples. And I like reading, so this would work. We'll invite you all to just kind of check in with your object and maybe ask yourself a couple of questions like, I wonder why I did this, or um, what color is it, or what do you like about it, or what does it remind you of? If you're watching live, you can pop in some of those answers. And yeah. Okay, so moving along to the theme, we are, as we mentioned, we're going to explore found object, and that's obviously kind of why we checked in with an object. So found object art is a gigantic topic, but we're going to kind of, as Chelsea mentioned, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about it in our art process. But what we're inviting you to do today is kind of along the same lines as our check-in is just go into your space and find some things that maybe you might want to make art with. That might be some recycled objects. Maybe you have some natural objects outside. If you can zip out and come back in. It could also be maybe a piece of art that you want to change and turn into something else, something that you no longer need to use. Um, yeah, and then you get to decide what you want to do with that art making. Some ideas could be literally transforming that object into something different. It might be using that object to trace or to sit by you as you make art and draw inspiration from it. And you can also just say, I don't want to do any of that found object art stuff. I have a whole plan. I have a whole idea. Absolutely go for that. Do that because that's the best for you. Yeah. I'm going to give a few examples before we get into our art making. So if you're cool with showing our art spaces, Chelsea.
Yeah, sure, I can do that.
We're going to turn on our videos. I have a lot of examples, so I'm just going to start with a couple. Okay.
I'll just rearrange us a little bit here.
Okay.
There we go.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll start with just a couple objects that I just picked up on my way into my making space throughout the day. So I went for a walk earlier and I found this big chunk of what looks to be sidewalk playing around with the camera. So it's quite heavy. When I initially picked it up, I thought maybe I might trace it. So that's a found object. I also found this piece of hockey tape outside. It's still got a little stick to it, but it's been sitting outside on our sidewalk for a while. I think my son was putting some hockey tape on some hockey sticks. And then actually when I came in, I found the original roll, and it only has just a few little pieces left. So I asked him if I could use that. So I might use that in my art making. And then I just kind of gathered a few other things, like these are playing around with how to see things in my camera. So these are actually two very dried out squash shells that I've been using as containers for art supplies. So they've got some ripped up art here, and then I've taken a hole punch, a really big hole punch, and punched out some art. Those could be something that I might use. And then I'll show one last piece of, this is kind of art and it could be a supply. So this is a piece of art, or sorry, a piece of wood that was used in art making before. So it's still got its natural side on one side, but then it's been painted because it was kind of used as a stamp, I think. So I might use this as well. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Sarah. That's so awesome. I love that. I have like a bunch of natural materials. I don't know if you can see, I've got all kinds of like rocks and sea glass and shells and wood. I've got some kinds of wood here that I've been holding on for onto for, I don't know, years. And some old playing cards, some other cool bottle caps. I really like bottle caps. This one is kind of neat. It's an old rusty one that I found on the beach. And some bread tags, little lids, because you never know. And a key, some like string that I found on the beach. Not string, it's rope. It's chunky orange rope, and it's really textured. So I love that. And some old playing cards. And I'm not sure where I'm going to go with all of this, but I do have my glue gun out, which
Look out.
could be dangerous, but we'll see.
Literally. Okay. All right. Yeah, I have some actual completed pieces too, but maybe we can kind of put some music on now and then get into some art making, and I'll pause along the way. And I know you have some maybe completed art that we can show along the way too. That sound
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and if you want to share in the chat, you could say hello. Maybe you might want to share what you're using today, or yeah, as I mentioned before, any questions.
Mhm. Yeah, and if you did find an object that you want to check in with or share with us, we'd love to hear about that too.
Yeah. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to share any more examples, but I am, because this is actually, I think this is going to be where I work today. So I don't think I can get this whole thing up. So maybe I'll kind of do this is just an old, looking out for you, Chelsea.
I'm going to try to keep it PG, everyone, but if I burn myself, the bets are off.
Okay, so this is an old or reused record box, I guess. No, not record. Scratch that. Wrong. A calendar. So a calendar came in this. Somebody got a calendar for Christmas, and so what I've done with my girls, we took out Mod Podge and fabric, and so I've actually, it's really hard now, and we covered a couple of things. So I covered this, and the inside is waiting to be worked upon. So I think that's where I'm going to go today.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, Sarah.
No problem. And I don't have the Mod Podge container, but I'd like to give a little bit of info about what I'm talking about. So Mod Podge is a type of glue. It also works as a sealant. So you can use it to glue things, and then you can also use it to put on a nice finish. It's pretty versatile. It can be used with, oh, you have it right there.
I do have one. Yeah.
Didn't even plan that.
No, this is a staple in our world. You got to have
modeling the Mod Podge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really great. It like you glue your stuff down with it, but then you can also put another layer on top. It works with magazine, fabric, natural objects, all the things. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a really handy thing to have. And safer than a glue gun.
Yeah, true story.
And if you wanted to avoid adhesives altogether, something that you could consider doing is just like a little installation of found objects. You know, instead of affixing them together, you can just arrange them and play with that and see how, you know, the different arrangements of it feel and what kind of stories. Maybe you'll create a story around those organizations, how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah, like a temporary installment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that down earlier too. Um, I think a lot about found object art. It's kind of like, okay, it's this term that we use in creative and arts and expressive arts therapy world, but also I see it as just play. Like that's what kids just naturally do this. They just find things and put them together and make stuff and turn
Yeah.
them into things. And I just think it's fascinating. They turn all these objects into a whole scene. At least that's how it goes down at my house. There's these elaborate scenes made up with all kinds of different items.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun of it. I think like working with found objects just in its nature connects us to our inner child in that way. And we just get to explore and play and it really for me helps to break down those barriers around creativity. Sometimes even as a self-proclaimed artist and art therapist, there's still those days where you get the blank canvas dread.
Yeah.
I feel like found object art just somehow just overrules that. Oh, hi, Heidi.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
I'm going to get up and plug my glue gun in because apparently this outlet isn't working.
Okay. So I apologize for the closeness of I think you're only able to capture a little bit of my art space. It seems to be so close. It's okay though.
I wonder if if we rearrange our placements here, maybe I can.
I think it's on my end. I'm going to play around with my screen a minute.
Sure. Meanwhile, I'm struggling to get my glue gun set up here. There we go. Good enough. Okay. Heidi, in case you're just joining us, we were just checking in with an object. If you want to, you're welcome to work with found objects today if you like. Tell us what you've got there if you want to share. Yeah.
Well, it's a little better.
Oh, there you are. Yeah. Okay. Good. I think I almost have too many things. Where to start?
I've been there.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think I'm in a good position here. There's a good amount.
Yeah.
That's better. Heidi's working with an old book. That's a great found object.
Yes. Love doing that.
So, one of the benefits, I think, of found object art is one we already mentioned, kind of drops us into play, which is really, really, really good for us, especially for those of us that maybe don't spend very much time in play. And the other benefit I was just thinking about, and Heidi shared about an old book, is that play can also offer it's accessible. That's what I was trying to say. Chances are we have something that maybe we don't use anymore, such as an old book, like you mentioned, and we can take that and transform it into something. It can make art making affordable as well.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that concept of transforming it, giving it a new life.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, found object art historically is just really an artist taking something from our mundane everyday lives and really just making the choice that it's art. That's
Right.
where it comes from, right? It's just that idea that, like, if we perceive it differently, then it is what we perceive it to be. Right? No longer that mundane thing, it is art.
Right. That's actually another benefit that I wrote down. I had this on a little reminder sheet. It can literally help us change and shift our perspective on something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's essentially what how it functioned in the art world. Um, it was really meant to be confrontation, I think, of what we decided was art and who decided what was art. Because I think for a very long time there was a set group of people that at the end of the day determined what was art and what wasn't. But in this in this way, the artist was really taking control of that and saying, no, I decided this is art, so it is art. And so it was really challenging the norms and expectations of art.
I might have to step away from the screen for a minute. I've just had a little burst of inspiration.
Mm, I love it. Go with it.
I'll be
We'll
right
still
back.
be here.
Back. So I kind of went through a lot of different stuff today when I was looking for different objects and items. And I'll just kind of show what I'm going to work on. This is just a big blob of end pieces, little snippets. And
Yeah.
so I think I need to glue them in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking.
Awesome.
And I'm also just kind of having a little bit of a remembrance. This image that I placed inside is just kind of like an experiment that I was doing. One, it was creating a labyrinth, just like a finger labyrinth that I can do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided I wanted to turn it into a little book. So I was just playing around with different cuts for books. And then I thought, oh, it doesn't really work anymore now that I've turned it into a book. Obviously, I knew it wasn't going to work the way it intended, but so now I'm deciding to put it back together. And I think I want to line the outside with all these warm fuzzies
Mm-hmm.
pieces.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. That's so cool. I really want to try. You're inspiring me to repurpose my artwork. I really want to start working with that a little bit more.
Yeah, I do that often, hey?
Hmm. Yeah, I think we talked about it last week for last time. And I really just, yeah, I keep thinking about it. So I think it's time for me to experiment with that. Find that my go-to. I love twisting wire and wrapping things. That's probably one of my favorite ways to work with. That's
Mm.
actually maybe on that note, I'm going to share one of my other pieces. I've actually shared this on Instagram. So if you follow Create Space, you will have seen it. I'll share it on like my main camera because it's a little smaller, but you can see like how dynamic it is and how it moves, and I'm constantly reforming it and it droops and then I pick it back up and change it. So it's very much like a piece that is alive and always moving and shifting. And I love that movement in it. And that,
Mm.
yeah, ever since today, I'm just like, I love, I love creating works that are very like, yeah, very fluid and changeable.
Yeah.
And the wrapping is just very comforting. A nice
Yeah.
meditative process for me.
Yeah. The the whole concept of wrapping is very good for our nervous system. We won't go into the details of that, but it's really good for us. Much like I'm covering this in really soft materials. Like this is just a nice fuzzy piece of fabric.
Yeah, it looks really nice, like plushy almost.
Yeah, it is.
Mm.
There's more of it. Yeah, and it just so happens it's like already in the shape of the corner.
That's perfect.
I love when those things happen.
Yeah. I know sometimes you hang on to something for so long and you're like, what am I doing with this? And then all of a sudden,
Yes,
it fits exactly where it's meant to.
yes. It reminds me of one of our instructors at Kootenai Art Therapy Institute when we were there for an immersion making art together. One of the activities we made with one of our instructors were trash monsters. And so it was literally just dumped out stuff that no longer worked or didn't serve its purpose any
Yeah.
longer. And we turned them all into little characters and creatures with their own story. And it was just really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we did that a couple of times and I enjoyed it each time.
Yeah.
It's such a fun process. Trash monsters. Maybe if you are looking for some inspiration, that's a good place to start if you're still seeking trash monster.
Yeah. I think I have a picture from mine.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll post it later.
I definitely put mine on the one of them anyway on my Instagram today. So
Oh, your trash monster? Or one
yeah,
of the. Oh, cool.
yeah.
I think I couldn't bring mine with me because I had used a pair of like really old scissors as the basis, and I didn't want to pack that in my luggage for my flight.
That's smart. Yeah.
So it was a temporary installment.
just watching you work with that material, Sarah, and thinking about the whole wrapping concept that I'm doing reminded me of that uh, Judith Scott, one of the artists that we learned about in our program um, at Katie,
Yeah.
and how she utilized. Wasn't really interested in painting or drawing or anything, but fiber arts really was her thing, and she found a lot of parts of things like tubing and bike wheels and even chairs and things, and just wrapped them with fabric and yarn and string and twine and all kinds of things, and created all of these beautiful, this whole series of beautiful works that are, you know, reminiscent of cocoons and
Hmm.
nests and really beautiful things that um yeah, ended
If
up
I
being.
remember, oh, sorry.
No, please go on.
If I remember correctly, too, a lot of her work, they didn't even know what was in the center of some of them because they were so,
Dense.
yeah, they're wrapped and wrapped. And yeah, it was just,
Yeah,
they were so well wrapped.
yeah.
Maybe I'll take a pause. I did a project with my kids, and I talked to them about Judith Scott and introduced them to some of her approaches of her art making. And so these are some of the pieces that I shared on my Instagram. So there we go.
Wow.
So this is a block of wood and just wrapped. And this was made a couple years ago, actually, I think now. So this is my son's, and he gave me permission to share it.
Mm,
But yeah, just that wrapping, and I know you can't feel it, but you can almost just sense how soft everything is. And then I have my daughter's, the younger daughter. This is hers. She's used some fabric and some yarn, same idea. I just put a bunch of objects in the center of the table, and then just a bunch of fabric and yarn, and
yeah.
so just got to it. They didn't need very much direction. So maybe for anybody out there looking for a project to do with anyone, this is a really easy one to get started.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Thank them for sharing their art with us. That's awesome.
So actually, you know what? I'll share one more. This is my own. I can't remember if I did it the same day, but same idea. Um, I've got two hoops here,
Oh wow.
and then I've just kind of started wrapping. I've got fabric. I've got a pine cone in there.
Mm,
Some more fabric, some soft stuff in there. I think this is an old baby onesie
mm,
that I cut up in there, and then just some random fabric.
wow.
Looks like I did a little bit of sewing on it too, maybe. Just some free sewing. Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
No problem.
It's so cool. That reminded me actually of a with similar. I didn't even piece it together actually, but I made it at the same time as I made the other piece that I showed. Something similar. I'll show it both ways. There we go.
Yeah.
Just a piece of wood, and it was so satisfying to wrap that fabric and the string around it
Yeah.
forever and ever without having really any goal at the end of it. Just the intention of like wrapping, and it does kind of feel nice. It looks sort of, yeah, not even sure, but anyway,
Yeah.
the denim in it too, like all the textures. It's not quite as dense or varied, but yeah, I love that process. It just, you really get into a trance almost, the flow, like we
Yeah.
talked about this week. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
Hmm.
that's another one of the, we're here to promote all the things that we can get out of creativity. So that's a perfect example of it. It's not necessarily what it ends up being at the end or getting any concrete information about it at the end. It's sometimes just that experience of, like, for us in those moments, it was wrapping and the repetition and the sensing and feeling of the materials. And that can be just what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't need to be more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why the music shut off there.
It knew we had lots to talk about.
What's that?
It knew we had a lot to talk about. Chelsea and I are feeling much more at ease this time. I think we were talking about the first one. It was a little nerve-wracking going live. Yeah. Now we're like, yeah, we're old pros. We've done this once before.
Yeah, sure. Experts now.
Yeah. Yeah, it goes to show you, just doing something new, starting something new, can bring up some things.
Mm-hmm.
But feeling a lot more ease now.
Yeah. Yeah, it is amazing the difference coming in today versus 2 weeks ago. And the technical difficulties probably did throw a little bit of a wrench in last time too, but yeah. Levity is good. Laughter is good.
Yeah. I'm also going to share a book that actually Chelsea and I both have. We were fortunate enough, again at Katie, to take a workshop with an art therapist named Judith Ciano.
Mm.
Actually, I'm going to do it this way because it's not working. And
Just
we'll put a link.
Lovely.
Yeah, so our workshop was all about found object in art therapy, and this book, maybe we happen to have some art therapists or expressive therapists following along, or anybody who's just curious about it a bit more. This is a great book full of color pictures and just a little bit diving deeper into lost found objects in art therapy.
Yeah, it's a great book.
That's not a paid advertisement either. That's just thinking it was really cool and it was really fun.
Yeah, we just really like it.
Yeah.
Even though this is our second live, we are not sponsored yet.
True.
Maybe next time. Uh-oh.
Did we jinx it?
No, I just noticed I was humming to myself and I thought, why am I doing that? And it's because the music stopped. So.
Oh. I'm not sure if I'm going out of turn here, but I'm just thinking that we are really open to suggestions about themes or other videos you might be interested in. We are happy to consider feedback, and we really welcome collaboration and ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you've seen some sort of art that you're curious about. Send us an email or jump on one of our social media accounts and send us a message. Or as the hip people might say, send me a DM. I'm showing my age.
Yes, a DM will work.
You're clearly more hip than I am. I can sense it in your tone. You're like, yep.
I don't know if you mentioned the comments, Eric, down below. Did you say that one too? For feedback?
I
I don't
don't know.
know. I don't remember. Sorry. I am listening. But yeah, if you there's also the comment section below too if you want to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Feel free to send lessons about hip social media language for me to follow.
The lingo is these days.
Yeah.
We'll figure this out eventually.
Pardon?
Like, come on, music. We'll figure this out eventually. Is it too loud now?
I don't think so.
Nope. Folks out there, let us know if you're having a hard time hearing us with the music, please.
Yeah.
We want to make sure you can hear us. All the very hip things we're saying.
We're talking tragically hip. I know that. I think this song kind of has that
It definitely does.
to it. Maybe that's what made me think of it. And if you're joining us from the US, apparently the Tragically Hip is not quite very well known. I don't know why I'm going on a tangent about the Tragically Hip, but I feel like you might want to check them out. It's worth checking them out. Again, no paid advertising here, just
P.E. Wood. It's good. I'm organizing old buttons and jamming out. I love that. Oh my gosh. Yes. The organizing process is so satisfying.
Yeah.
And there's something really fun about old buttons. I love it. It always reminds me of my grandma.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I spent many an hour organizing buttons back in the day. Probably the 80s. We might as well just get it out there. I was a child in the 80s.
Let's just be real.
Yeah.
It's okay. I think we would have lost the younger demographic a while ago if they were concerned.
After my DM comment.
That might have been it, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, Heidi is trying to sew into some papers.
Oh
I
my God.
love doing that too. Yeah.
Yeah. That is something I tried very recently, and it is satisfying,
Yeah.
I found, and also challenging. Maybe
Yeah.
it was the paper I was using, but I kind of enjoyed the challenge.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's something I would like to do more too. Oh boy. Hmm.
I think I'm going to share another one of my found object art pieces.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're just
Mm.
about to wrap up here, Sarah. So
Yeah, it's
share away.
flying by.
It is.
So this, I think I can get in there. So this is a character that I created in grad school. And this was a piece of embroidery that I made a long, long time ago. I was just playing around with stuff. It became the cape for, I called her the wild woman of the woods. She appeared in many, many projects, and we may have even done an interview together in one project.
May.
It was pretty phenomenal. Yeah, so this is a piece, this is like a button, I think. This was in a box from the school. They sent us a bunch of supplies one summer. This is just an old button, or not a button, pendant. And then it's just a piece of wood that I painted on a little face. And she's pretty cool.
She's pretty cool. She is pretty cool.
She's pretty hip. No, she's not hip at all.
And a great actor, as I recall.
Great co-host. Who knows? Maybe she might co-host one time.
Oh my God, I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, are we?
What's that?
We are getting comfortable.
I was thinking the same thing, which is great. All right.
Yes, yes, but we are coming down to our last 10 minutes here. And oh, we got some heart eyes. Love it. Thank you, T.E. Wood. Yeah, so we're coming down to our last, well, 9.5 minutes now. So really, we're just looking to bring our art to a sense of completion at this point. It doesn't have to be done. What is done, really? Mine isn't done. But it's done for now. So just take a minute to wrap up what you're doing. Of course, you can continue after this if you want to, but we're going to close up for the night. So if you want to just slow it down with us, come back together for a little while.
Yeah, I'll invite you to, if you want to keep making art, that's totally cool. You need to do what you need to do. If you are coming to an end, or maybe later when you finish, I always like to remind everyone to just check in with your body a little bit. Maybe you've been holding your shoulders. Maybe you're really holding material in your hand. Maybe you haven't stood up the whole time you've been making art. So I'm going to go ahead and stand up.
Yeah.
Just stretch. Big stretches, smaller stretches, whatever is right for you.
I almost tipped over.
Here we thought it was going to be the glue gun. It was stretching.
Many opportunities for disaster over here.
Oh, goodness. I love it. Okay. All right. So, yeah, now we have a chance just to check in. Chelsea and I are going to check in with each other, and we're just going to talk a little bit about our art, our process. Although, yeah, we did a lot of chatting during, and sometimes that happens too. So, anything you want to share about your art or your process, Chelsea?
Well, it was kind of a slow-going process, honestly. I really just felt like I was exploring the materials a lot today, which was fun because, I mean, I do have quite a lot of materials. And it was nice to actually use some of the materials that I've had for a very long time. Like, for instance, I'm going to combine these somehow, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll show on my little screen better. So this piece of wood I picked up actually the first time we were in Nelson on the road trip back, just a little piece of driftwood from a beautiful little beach. And I got this little mussel shell with a perfect little hole in it just the other day on the beach as well. Anyway, just some like random little pieces I love. It's kind of like a little mobile. And I think I'm going to attach it eventually to this piece, which I'll try to show here on my, oh boy. There we go. Yeah. So this little one is like these mussel shells, a little perfect sprig of pine cone looking things.
Oh.
They're just like a beautiful little trio. I'm obsessed with them. And yeah, and these are like little acrylic shavings and they're a beautiful rainbowy color. I don't know if you can really even see from the, maybe not.
I can't see it, but I believe you.
I believe you. I'll take pictures and put them up in the shared gallery on the website so you can see it better. But I think I'm going to put the mobile on top. And anyway, it was just really fun to play and actually use some of these materials that I'm collecting. I love to make sculptural things. It's just really satisfying.
It's so good to know what we like to do, right? That's another piece of the art making. When you can give yourself space to do a regular practice, and that's whatever that is for you. That doesn't mean like you have to do every day for this much time, but when you start making art on a regular basis, you start to find things that you really enjoy and that help you out in certain instances. Yeah. We'll go more into detail about that, but maybe for another. Maybe there's an idea for another one. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I was also, if I may, make a comment.
Please.
About the first part, you talked about one piece was from British Columbia and one piece is from the East Coast, and it was like, you've got coast to coast.
It's true. I love it. It's true. I love it. And a button that I acquired somewhere.
Somewhere along the way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. And T.E. Wood says, I'll share my button pics with you on Insta. Thanks, peeps. This is really calming.
Thanks, T.E. Wood. Looking forward to those photos.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess I talked about mine kind of as I was doing it, but I just took that little box that I had and I glued in the labyrinths that I'd made before. And then really I just spent most of the time just adding in these pieces of all different stuff, fabric. And I really like this part here. It's just like a whole bunch of, you can't see it. A whole bunch of pieces of embroidery thread at the ends. It kind of reminds me of like a little nest.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something, I'm going to add some more stuff at the bottom here, but there's definitely something about it being like a sensory box, a sensory tray almost. It's like really thin, just like sits right on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it's the labyrinth, which is really cool. I like that. So um, yeah, I think I was just really enjoying the softness of all of the fabrics and the yarn, and then just gluing them down. And yeah, I think that's what it was like for me
Mhm.
today on this very live art hive day.
This very live art hive. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
the
that.
music just got really loud.
Oh, okay.
That track is a little bit louder.
That one's aggressive. Okay, we'll just
Yeah.
shut her down anyway. Thank you for sharing that, Sarah. Sorry the music interrupted you.
No, that's good. All good.
And Heidi, thanks. Mine will be a work in progress. Yes. Yeah. Mine too. And it seems like maybe Sarah's too. A few of them. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you can bring it to the next one if you want, or if you work on it in the between time, we'd love to see it at the end of the day. I'll maybe just shut down our art making spaces for now.
sure.
And then, yeah, we can see each other a little better, see everyone else better. Yeah, so we're coming to the end. Got a couple of minutes left. I just wanted to wrap up with a few little, I guess, requests or suggestions or ideas. And so, if you would like, if you enjoyed your time here, whether you're watching it live or as a replay, you can like the video. That will help us. If you want to subscribe to our channel, we're figuring out how to schedule them. So, you'll get notifications when we are doing our next ones. Hopefully, that's in store for April. But yeah, it is recorded, so you can rewatch it anytime if you just want a little bit of company in your art making time, or you want to explore found object art on a different day. So please feel free to rewatch it. And I think we mentioned the shared gallery on our website. That the link is in the description. So if you want to join our community, the gallery is only accessible to members. Anyone is able to be a member, but you do have to sign up in order to view the gallery. So yeah, we'd love to see your art there. We're going to start posting ours tonight. So yeah, feel free to share your work there if you'd like. Um, Feedback in the comments is welcomed. We mentioned that I think before, but just to give you the opportunity again, we'd love to hear back from you, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you would like to see in the future. Yeah, any suggestions? We're here for it. We are new to this. This is a new journey. So yeah, and it's for everyone. It's for all of us. So your input is really valuable and welcomed. Yeah, and I think joining us for the next one, that'll be April 11th. Same bat time, same bat channel. I don't know if I'm able to say that, but I did. It's here. It might be copyrighted. I'm not sure. Same bat time, same bat channel. We'll see how that goes.
I said it twice.
Is there anything that I missed, Sarah?
I don't think so. If you happen to choose to share your art making or photos on social media, you're actually, obviously welcome to tag us in the photos. And yeah, just be a little mindful of when you are sharing your photos. Just remembering that they could be seen by anyone, and that's okay as long as you just kind of take that moment, check in with yourself. But that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It is a members only space, but it is still a public space. So yeah, being mindful of that for sure. Yeah, yeah. We got some laughs there by T.E. Wood. So sorry, I noticed that as you were talking, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's everything. Then we're off for another week, but we will see you April 11th. Thank you all so much for coming. We appreciate you,
Yeah.
and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.